Hello, everybody. Welcome into another edition of the Computer America Show. It is Thursday, and welcome to our pre-show. We got a great show planned for you in the second hour, Computer and Technology News, brought to you by Slimware Utilities, the official optimization software of Computer America. And in the first hour, we have certified ethical hacker Charles Tendell is going to be here, talking about DEF CON and also this new Compliance with Court Orders Act of 2016. I think that's made him really bristle. So I'm going to be talking to him as well. As we begin, 2 hours of the Computer America Show coming at you right here. So here we go in 10 seconds.
Your show will go live in 5 seconds. 4, 3, 2, 1.
Broadcasting live, it's America's longest-running national radio talk show on computers, Computer America, hosted by national columnist Craig Crossman. Look for Craig's weekly column in your favorite newspaper. This show is being beamed nationwide at ComputerAmerica.com. Keep it here for technology news, computer products, guest interviews, and your phone calls. You're listening to Computer America.
Hello and welcome into the Computer America Show. It's the nation's longest-running, nationally syndicated radio talk show on computers. Computer America is heard around the world and coast to coast. And I'm your host, Craig Crossman.
And I'm your co-host, Ben.
And it is Thursday. Welcome into a Thursday edition of the Computer America Show. Hopefully all of you are having a wonderful week. And as always, we have a terrific show planned for you. In the second hour, we'll be bringing to you computer and technology news. That's brought to you by Slimware Utilities. They are the official optimization software of Computer America. And in the first hour, we're going to put our hacker hats on. We have certified ethical hacker Charles Tendell is going to be joining us here in the first hour of the show, talking about DEF CON, the upcoming DEF CON convention, and also he wants to talk about the Compliance with Court Orders Act of 2016, which is some interesting legislation sort of tied into what Apple was doing with the FBI was doing with Apple. I mean, he wants to talk about it, and I certainly understand that. And, now, if you want to get in on the action, give us a call. We'd love to hear from you. You're listening to us live Monday through Friday, 3 to 5 p.m. Eastern Time. 347-884-8881. That's 347-884-8881. We'll get you on and get you through. Or any page at ComputerAmerica.com. There on the upper right-hand corner, it says Submit a Question. Just click it. It's a link. It'll take you to our question submission page. You can type in your question, hit the Submit button. Ben and I will see what you've typed immediately. The other thing you can do is you can watch our live video stream. Yes, I know we're a radio talk show, but we also provide live video streaming of our show live Monday through Friday, 3 to 5 p.m. Eastern Time. Again, go to ComputerAmerica.com. Any page there, the menu bar, it says Show Lounge. Just click on the Show Lounge menu bar, and you will be instantly teleported to our live video streaming page where you can watch. You can see us. You can see myself. You can see Ben. You can see Charles, who is now looking at me. So you're actually seeing Charles looking at me, looking at Charles, looking at me, that type of thing. Yeah, you can do that and actually watch the show as well. Of course, Ben has the technology to display websites, videos, movies, links, that type of thing. So it just makes for a more interactive experience. So head over to ComputerAmerica.com, the internet home of our radio broadcast, for anything having to do with our nationally syndicated talk show. So Ben, anything else you want to mention before we bring Charles into the foray here?
The only thing I kind of want to mention here is that we here at Computer America do reviews from time to time whenever people work up the nerve to send us something, and the nice people over at Honeywell actually were kind enough to send over a Lyric 2 thermostat, which is their newest kind of connected thermostat. Mm-hmm. So we just installed it the other day and we trying that out, and hopefully in about a week or two, after we kind of work out all the bugs and see.
There are a number of them.
We'll be doing a write-up. So be sure to check out our blog and all the other newspapers that we write to for that. So be on the lookout for a connected thermostat review.
Okay.
Other than that, no, I'm good.
All right. Well, as I mentioned, Charles Tendell is here. He's a certified ethical hacker, and as a certified ethical hacker, hacking forensic investigator, and information security professional, Charles brings to the table over 15 years of professional experience in cybercrime and investigations. He holding certifications accredited by both the Department of Defense and the American National Standards Institute. He joined the U.S. Army as a missile defense crew member. Charles quickly rose to leadership roles, consulting with military intelligence, military police investigations, and the U.S. Army Criminal Investigations Division on cybercrime, digital recovery, and hacking techniques. And his website is charlestendell.com or azorian.io. You can check him out, both those websites. We have linked to them on our website at computeramerica.com. Charles, welcome to Computer America. How you been?
I've been well, Craig, running around like a chicken with my head cut off and still trying to figure out, trying to keep it from exploding with all the craziness that's going on in the world. But I'm doing well. How are you guys?
Well, I didn't know chickens were prone to explosions when their lid came off. I didn't know that.
It happens. It happens when you take their head off, it explodes. It's weird. Or when you stress them out, this is how we end up with this wide abundance of these genetically modified chickens.
Yeah, that's what all the GMO talk is about. See, this is why we need more FFA funding. It's a dangerous job exploding.
We're not talking frizzled chickens here, too, right?
No, frizzled chickens. Not. What exactly is a frizzled chicken?
It's a type of chicken. It's imagine a chicken, but with an afro.
An afro wielding chicken.
He looks like he had a bad hair day. Is
he a bad mother? Shut your mouth.
Yeah. He is. Yes, he is.
We are.
Oh no! What is that? Why?
It's a frizzled chicken.
Why have you done these things?
Has science gone too far?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Anyhow, so I understand you're going to be going to DEF CON, and you might be going, we might be kind of tagging along with you in virtually, in other words, as you go there. But DEF CON isn't until, what, June?
I think it's August, actually.
August? Wow. Okay.
We got some time. We got some time before that comes up. Okay. Let me make sure. I know for a fact it's at the hottest time ever in the middle of the desert in Vegas, so, this is how they do things. Let's see. It's August 4th through the 7th. Yep, it is. It is in the hottest time ever imaginable, and it's in Las Vegas. So, yeah, there's that.
So, are you doing as a Black Hat as well as DEF CON?
I'm going to be attending Black Hat. I've got some reason to be there and some things to do there. So it's going to be kind of a fun time. It's going to be a fun time.
All right. So I always mention. Yeah, I'm sorry, Ben. Go ahead.
And the only thing I wanted to ask was, because we probably won't be getting too much in DEF CON because it's still a couple months away, but would there be any reason for someone like, say, me or an average Joe to kind of go?
To DEF CON?
Yeah.
Absolutely. If you have any idea, if you want to see what being a hacker is actually about, whether it be just if you want to see what it means to be a hacker, yes, come to DEF CON. We have the greatest parties, we have the most fun. You get several thousand geeks just seriously walking around and just hacking everything. If you're a regular Joe, just word of advice, buy a burner phone. Don't take your normal phone, buy a burner laptop and computer and take that with you and get in there, because DEF CON over the last couple of years has gotten a lot of media attention, and it's slowly but surely going to turn into not as raw as some of us who have been there before like it. So it's gonna get kind of commercial, but you can go there, you can learn things like lock picking, you can learn about the newest vulnerabilities, the new exploits, you can watch Capture the Flags, you can literally watch people talk other people out of their clothing, literally. Like, it's amazing. It's fantastic. You can go there. You can learn about new exploits. The Wall of Sheep is something that I highly recommend. Again, don't bring your normal cell phone.
Otherwise, you'll see your name and password up on the big huge.
Exactly, wall. Name, password, and all of your dirty pictures sprawled across.
Don't they put a little asterisk though when the password is, so they
sometimes.
Well, like I was gonna take my normal phone, but I was just gonna leave it in airplane mode.
No, don't even do that.
Not even that, huh?
Don't even do that. See, airplane mode is a software problem, right? Now, here's the thing. Once you get to Las Vegas, okay, as a matter of fact, on your flight headed to Las Vegas for DEF CON, just assume that there's one of me on that plane, okay? It means that by the time you've landed, you've probably already been hacked. Now, from the time you get off the plane to the time you get to your hotel, you've probably been hacked 5 or 6 more times. By the time you get checked in, just don't bring anything that you would be worried about to DEF CON. Like, just don't do it. Just bring a notebook and an old laptop. Like me this year, I'm bringing my T420, and we're just going to rock it out there and just have a blast. So don't bring anything you're worried about getting hacked. Just don't do it. I know you'll be tempted. I know you'll want to, and I'm going to be out there with one of my rigs to do recordings and some video stuff, but, I'm going to make sure that, I'm not, just don't do it.
Wise words.
Yeah, exactly. So one of the things that you wanted to talk about, I know you've been tweeting it and everything, is this bill that came out. Well, it's not bill, this draft that came out. The Intelligence Committee leaders released a discussion of the draft of encryption bill, which is called the Compliance with Court Orders Act of 2016. Now, first of all, are you for or against this?
Okay, so here's the problem. So basically, what it is Bill Burr and Dianne Feinstein, who just needs to be hit by something heavy, have been talking about and trying to pass this legislation that essentially would require companies to go and keep scrolling down. You're almost there, almost that one. That's the one I'm talking about right now.
Got it.
It's a picture, but it should have a link in it as well somewhere.
Now, you're not talking about Bill Burr, the comedian, right?
No, I'm talking about. I think it's Bill Burr. Yeah, Richard Burr, not
Okay.
Bill. But he basically what it is so the San Bernardino shooting happened. The Fed went after Apple to get Apple to comply with a warrant to create a backdoor for iOS. Apple respectively told them to pound sand because we're not going to weaken our encryption or provide the resources to allow you to go and openly spy on people. And the problem becomes that so the solution here with Feinstein and Burr, who's the Senate Intelligence Committee chair, is to make it a federal law. There you go. To make it a law for them to be able to tell you and to force you to do it. It would make companies actually be forced to comply with a court order to create resources and to do all these other wonderful things. And it's horrible. It is absolutely 100% insane, horrible. I mean, even in the bill, right? Even in the bill that they put up there, it says they're quoted, "No entity or individual is above the law," said Vice Chairman Feinstein. I hate this woman. The bill we drafted would simply provide that if a court of law issues an order to render technical assistance or provide decrypted data, the company or individual would be required to do so. Meaning, if I created a platform, or if Computer America were hosted on an encrypted server and one of your callers called in and they wanted to do an investigation on that particular caller, you would be forced to dedicate your time, your resources, and potentially bring your systems offline to accommodate these people. Now, it could be a wild goose chase. There could be nothing available for it. There could be nothing in it whatsoever. But this type of legislation and this type of bill, all it's going to do is give the federal government the ability to reach out and force Comcast, Xfinity, you name the internet service provider, you name the computer company, you name it, AT&T, everyone, to just hand over your data regardless of who you are, just on complete and total speculation. And it'll now make it a federal crime for companies to tell them, nope, sorry, we don't have the resources or the ability to do that, which is what Apple told them. We don't have the ability to do it, and now they're going to make that a crime.
Right.
So,
the rest of the quote. Allow me to read the rest of the Feinstein's quote. She says, "Today, terrorists are criminals and are increasingly using encryption to foil law enforcement efforts, even in the face of a court order." Well, that's true. I mean, they are. They're hide them. Okay.
Isn't that like a little hyperbolic though? It's like they lead with terrorists and criminals.
Exactly, and that's the point. They're using the terrorism. They're using the criminality. Now let's look at this. Okay, you both. Wait, Craig, you're an iPhone user, right?
Yes.
And Ben, are you an iPhone user?
Also iPhone.
Okay, so the three of us all use encryption. Okay, whether you know it or not, every time you send me a text message or an iMessage, it's encrypted. Every time you log into your phone is encrypted. This bill would force Apple to hand over those encryption keys, to create a backdoor enabling them to be able to remotely monitor your device. Now, you take the three of us and you ask, what's the actual percentage of terrorists using technology like this? And the grand scheme of the 3 billion people living on this planet that use technology.
Very small.
It's extremely small.
Yeah.
You know, it's just them trying to, and he's right, it's hyperbolic.
Well, I mean, thanks to them, that's why we have the TSA. Oh, is it TSA? I mean, when you
And they're so effective.
it takes 2 hours now to get an airplane flight. You know, it's all in the name of national security. I mean, they're making all all these acts, the Homeland Security. I mean, all of that. It's all in the name of
Shouldn't there be like a sense,
terrorists.
Shouldn't there be a sense of the liberties that you give up? You should get some kind of, I don't want to say return on investment, but shouldn't there be like a tangible difference made by all the privacy and security that you're giving up? And really, I don't think that's I don't think they've shown that you get any sort of real kind of safety.
You don't. That's the thing. This is all. We feel that we are kept out of these devices. We're kept out of this technology because we can't openly track people. And if you notice, they've been trying to do this for years. They try to do it with the Freedom of Information Sharing Act. They try to do it with CISPA. They try to do it with all these different things. They try to keep coming at us from different angles about privacy. And the bottom line is they're saying, hey, we really just want to be able to get knee-deep in all of your stuff. And before this point, the technology wasn't really mainstream, so we didn't care. Now we really care because everyone is using encryption. Everyone is using it. And quite honestly, they're not going to use the backdoors to fight terrorists. That's not how that's going to work. Look at what they did. Look at San Bernardino. They were fighting so hard to get 18 minutes worth of data. We know the guy did it. There's no really anything else to piece together there. You wanted access to all the phones.
Yeah, she finishes up her statement by saying, we need strong encryption to protect personal data, but we also need to know when terrorists are plotting to kill Americans. So there she's playing that card,
Yeah. We need strong encryption, so that's her attempt to save face and say we need strong encryption, so I support strong encryption as long as I have the backdoor keys to it.
It's not a win-win situation, is it?
No. I mean, here. So you remember. Here's a good example. It just came out, and this came out yesterday, that the police in Canada say that they've got a backdoor to the PGP encrypted email for BlackBerry. Remember how BlackBerry used to be the Fed's go-to device, and it was all hyper secure, and nobody else could get to it. And then BlackBerry began to die out. But there's an underground buzz that a couple of colleagues of mine like to point out is that the only way the Fed will allow a particular piece of technology from the outside world to get in is if the Fed has the keys to the kingdom. This is why BlackBerry was a big deal, because they had access to all of the encrypted data that could be on one. So it was speculated that there might already be a backdoor. And with this headline coming out that, law enforcement in Canada have it, it means, well, we knew this. And it's just going to get worse. It's going to go from I want to just be able to track terrorists. I mean, let's face it. What's the one with all the metadata? The Patriot Act, right? Right. All we wanted was metadata on just terrorists. We don't care about anybody else. It's just the terrorist. It's just the terrorist. Then why did you collect metadata on every American?
Yeah, it wasn't just every American. Like it was like everyone who used like any of those cell phone communications. They had everything. Like they cast the biggest net possible.
Wow.
And this is just going to be a slippery slope that's going to take it further down the rabbit hole.
Yeah, and like this was seen in the unfortunate Paris attacks and and all these bombings that are happening over in Europe. It's like even those countries are calling for the end to encryption, or at least keys to encrypted devices. But then they do a little bit more digging, and they find out that after all the anti-encryption rhetoric gets spewed, they find out that they were using $20 phones from the supermarket, and no amount of encryption was going to help you anyways. Exactly. It was. There are ways around it that are so much infinitely cheaper. I don't
See,
know.
this is the thing. It's a moving target. Like you can crack the encryption, or you can get your back door on something. That's fine. Anybody worth their salt uses rotating encryption algorithms anyway. Like they like to say that ISIS, and that's one of the other stories we'll cover up. With ISIS likes to use encryption and all this secure stuff and blah 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 blah. Well, ISIS understands how it works. Pop up, operate for a little bit, go away, and shift to another one. And by the time you crack the last one, it's completely irrelevant. It doesn't matter. It's so like, yeah, the data on my device is encrypted. The personal data that's stored on my device is encrypted. And if you were to get a hold of my device, there's a lot of information on it. But if I'm really trying to do something illegal or malicious or something crazy like that, I'm not using my personal device. I'm going to go old school. I'm going to use a pen and a piece of paper. I'm going to use smoke signals, or I'm going to use my own type of Caesar cipher or something like that. The problem is,
I thought your office was on fire. So that was it.
office is on fire. What?
Smoke coming in.
Smoke signals.
Oh.
See, I said carrier pigeon, and
All I'm saying is, even if they crack the encryption where all they do is backdoor, they're only really backdooring people like us. They're only backdooring normal people. Well, I'm not really normal, and neither are you guys, especially not Craig.
Hey, Ben.
not Craig.
Ben, sign on to AIM, will you?
Sure. And real quick, this bill that's being introduced by Chairman Feinstein and Chairman Burr, would you is this? Of course, you have a military background, so I don't know much about that. But do you think this is government agencies looking for a way in, or at least with this bill introduced, or is this just poor writing and poor understanding of the technology, and they're just trying to solve a problem, but really don't understand the fundamentals behind what they're asking for?
Is there a third option that's all of the above?
I guess there is now.
Because I'm going to use all of the above. It is one, three-letter government agencies just want to be able to get ready access to all of your data at any time that they see fit without having to jump through too many hoops. They're lazy. And they don't understand the technology. They don't understand that they understand the rudimentary values of the technology. They understand it at a very basic level, but they really don't understand who's doing what, how, where, or why. And that's the problem. Now, see, here's another beautiful thing. If they had actually consulted with someone like me or someone like, insert high-level hacker anywhere, right? Or any hacker, just go to a high school science lab and just computer lab and be like, who's the resident hacker? I'll pay you $50. Right? They'll stand up, give me your opinion on how to defeat encryption in a terrorist situation. Oh, that's easy. Infiltrate the terrorist organization and actually get them to give you access. That's not hard to do. All it does is take time and resources, but you're trying to act now. Actually use your intelligence. But that's it. It's all of the above. They don't know what they're doing, and they're too lazy to do it. I mean, in San Bernardino, remember they were trying to sue Apple. Apple told them no. Then all of a sudden they found another company that said, hey, we can do it for you. But the hack that company used had been around for years.
Yeah.
Had been around for years. Like, I could have done it. Even though John McAfee was talking out his butt, he could have done it.
Are they so that backwards?
Yes. Yes.
Wow.
These cats are still operating on Windows Server 2000. Okay, their security and their technology, these are old school, and they haven't just kept up with the times, and it's a problem.
Yeah, and that's one thing I heard about the San Bernardino case in kind of just in that case, was that they were trying to get into an iPhone 5C, if I remember, and like the way that they that the company would have gotten into it, they said that really a lot of people, if they had physical access to the phone, like if they had the phone in their hand, given enough time, really anyone could have used known exploits and got into that thing. That wasn't really the hard part. And also what they said was that in the iPhone, in the next few iterations of the iPhone 6, 6S, what have you, the method that they probably used was obsolete. If you have a phone that you purchased within in the last 3 years, the way that they got into that phone was already useless.
Yeah.
That's true.
So
that's how it always works.
It was a 5C, I think it was. It was an older phone.
Yeah.
Yep, it's a 5C.
Yeah, exactly. So the company, I think it was an Israeli company that had this technique that allowed them to hack the phone. Because normally with the phone, after you put in the PIN code, after like 4 tries, it makes you wait, and then after 10 tries, I think it just bricks the phone. So you have to find other ways of just randomly entering it, or just trying a brute force. You can't use brute force to get in for that reason.
You gotta hold it up to your ear and press them, and it makes a different sound when you press the right digits.
It's like
I hear.
Yeah, like cracking a safe, because you can hear the tumblers click in their iPhone. All right, so you're against the bill. Do you think it's going to pass?
No, I don't even think it's gonna. I don't think it's even gonna make it. I think this is a draft. I think if they try and publish this kind of a bill, if they try and publish this at any point in time, life's just gonna end. They're just gonna be unhappy, and they're gonna be they're no way. I mean, there's no way this passes.
Well, you could have said that too for the the TSA. Oh, no way it's going to pass. No, it's going to take you 2 hours to take a flight. But look what's happened. I mean, it's sort of.
Well, that's different. That's different. See, the TSA and the Patriot Act all came about because, well, quite honestly, we had just gotten hit by terrorists.
Right.
9/11 had just happened. Right. So the country had a knee-jerk reaction and was open to this idea. But the country right now is watching malicious hackers steal ridiculous amounts of personal data and cause ridiculous amounts of financial chaos and mayhem. And the U.S. government can't do anything about it. They're trying, but they're just widely and grossly ineffective. So so the people are looking for ways to protect themselves.
Well, let's put the shoe on the other foot, Charles. What can the government do to without encroaching on? Can they hire guys like you? I mean, what do they need to do?
That's exactly it. You hire guys like me to help you understand and to work through the technology that you're working with, instead of just trying to throw legislation at it. Because the bad guys, you throw legislation at it, you're going to impact the companies, you're going to impact general consumers. The bad guys don't care. The bad guys are going to find a better, easier, faster way to circumvent that legislation and do what they want.
Well, isn't that what DEF CON has been about for years, though? It's been like a recruiting arena for the feds come in, and they find all the talent, and they hire them, and they pay them really good money and everything. So, and that's been year after year after year after year. Why haven't we benefited from that?
Because the actual people who want to, first and foremost, recruiting at DEF CON is extremely difficult if you're a 3-letter government agency. Here's 2 reasons. 1, you're a 3-letter government agency. 2, in the private sector, these analysts, these guys can make 3, 4, 5, 8 times the money that the government's willing to pay. And then on top of that, there's very little. The red tape is missing. And the red tape, like I was at a conference here recently with a gentleman, and their threat intelligence is literally months old because of the amount of red tape they have to go through to be able to get or execute or act on any of the data that they get. And at DEF CON, these guys are not, let's wait 5 months before we can do anything. If we're going to enact positive change, we're going to enact positive change right now. Nobody wants to deal with politicians because they lie, because nobody has faith in them. You need to build a team. You need to build an organization. We need a national cybersecurity consortium, an agency, just a national cyber agency.
Well, isn't that what the NSA is?
The new NCA.
Isn't the NSA that?
No, the NSA is using old techniques, old designs, old ideas. They're building, their national security agency that just basically does monitoring of particular individuals. They're not pioneering. They're not looking for new techniques. They're not looking to develop skill sets that allow them to stay cutting edge. It's time to go on the offensive. We can't sit back and wait any longer. Consumers are just the ones that are just going to become the victims. We have to go on the offensive, and we have to get the right people in the right places to do it.
And we're not even on track to do that?
They keep trying. Like the Air Force, they're recruiting into the Air Force, the Army Cyber Command, and all these other different places, but the red tape is killing people. It is stifling creativity and making it very difficult for analysts to actually do their jobs.
Is there any hope at this point?
There is. There is. I mean, I've seen a lot of buzz, and I had a lot of talks, and there are a lot of the public sector organizations have let go of some of the stigma of what it means to be a hacker. They no longer see the word and think they're automatically evil, so they're beginning to hire people and look for those resources. We saw that the Pentagon here recently just put out a bounty program where you can hack the Pentagon. We see websites like HackerOne going out and recruiting all of these companies and creating their bounty programs and making it so that people can actually get paid for doing what they love to do and still keeping them secure. So we are moving in the right direction. We're just moving very slow.
Yeah. So, do you think it's going to? Do you think that speed is going to pick up, or are we going to stay the same at this point?
Well, we've got to have a serious paradigm shift. We've got to have somebody who instead of enacting legislation blindly because they had to talk about it in their coffee shop or in one of their underhanded meetings, the first politician who steps out and does like an active call to hackers and says, "I want your help in making this country more secure." You'll see it shift fast.
All right. We're talking to Charles Tendell, certified ethical hacker. 347-884-8881 will get you on and get you through. We're going to take a break, and then we'll continue on. You're listening to the Computer America Show. We'll get on the News Tips Bulletin Review from Marty Winston coming up as well. We'll be right back. You're listening to the Computer America Show.
Sometimes disaster strikes. Data can be lost due to many different reasons. Accidental reformatting, power spikes, virus attacks. Zero Assumption Recovery provides a suite of highly effective and thorough data recovery software for Windows operating systems. ZA is suitable for home users and small businesses who need a powerful data recovery solution for Windows and Linux file systems.
Go to z-a-recovery.com.
Sometimes disaster strikes. Data can be lost due to many different reasons. Accidental reformatting, power spikes, virus attacks. Zero Assumption Recovery provides a suite of highly effective and thorough data recovery software for Windows operating systems. ZA is suitable for home users and small businesses who need a powerful data recovery solution for Windows and Linux file systems.
Go to z-a-recovery.com.
Hi, this is Craig Crossman, host of the Computer America Show. Long before Vistaprint asked me to tell you about them, my wife and I have been using Vistaprint for years, making business cards, having the Computer America logo placed on the polo shirts we use at conventions like CES, even printing a business card for our personal lives with our home address and phone number. In fact, Vistaprint offers tons of custom products for home and office needs, and Vistaprint absolutely guarantees you'll love their products every time, or they will make it right. In fact, they'll give you 500 business cards for just $9.99 when you enter my promo code Craig at checkout. Just go to their website at www.vistaprint.com and see how easy it is to design your own stuff using their web-based custom design service. Remember to use my code Craig and save up to 50% over their regular pricing. So don't wait. Go to vistaprint.com and order today.
Yeah, she likes to watch reruns and hear dead people laughing.
Oh, hi, Marty Winston with a News Tips Bulletin Review for Computer America, this time Vivint Sky Control. Vivint builds systems for connected homes that operate under their purpose-built Sky Control panel, a dedicated touchscreen tablet on a wall mount. It connects to gear using Z-Wave, but that's something you'll never see. It also connects to your smartphone. It works with elements like a quick-set electronic deadbolt and a Remotech dimming switch wall wart module. We'll save one interesting part of the mix for its own review, but make this comment about the way Vivint interacts with customers. Conscientiously. They go out of their way to eliminate support issues. It's deliberately less of a product line for hobbyists or jury riggers. Bottom line, Vivint Sky Control Panel and their connected home product line is built for end-user consumers who don't want to know how it works. They just want to trust that it works. Marty Winston, News Tips Bulletin for Computer America.
welcome back to the Computer America Show here, 33 minutes past the hour, and we are here with Charles Tendell, and we're talking all about hacking and the state of hacking and the state of security in this country, and of course, just finished talking about this Burr-Feinstein bill that would essentially kind of twist the company's arm and say that if we have a court order, you have to work with us, which will of course be very, very bad for security in general, because then you kind of have a lack of it. We've been kind of talking about here, there, and everywhere as security is applied, and these bills come up every couple months, and although it seems like Dianne Feinstein seems to be the one pushing a lot of it, which it's always been weird to me that really one of the oldest sitting members of Congress is pushing for the most technical bills. So,
even though they have no idea how to even spell computer.
And you kind of hate to bring age into the thing, but when you're 83 years old, anyone out there go to your parents or go to your local 83-year-old and say, so what do you think about the state of hacking? What do you think the government should be doing to make companies comply to data requests? I guarantee you they're not going to know much more than anyone else.
Isn't it CUMPTAR?
Yeah.
CUMPTAR.
That's it. So yeah, and and again, we're checking out all these different articles. By the way, go check out Charles's Twitter. The story is up there, and he seems to be posting tons and tons of story updates on stories that are security oriented as well. So I had a point to make, and I completely forgot what I wanted to bring up, but it was definitely relevant.
But you
and
forgot.
now gone.
Yes, he's just he's in awe of your presence here, Charles, and it just
that's it.
I think he's still worried that I'm going to take his spot from him, but I don't think that's going to happen.
Despite the audience saying we want Charles, I'm like, no, no you don't. You want Ben. Ben's friendly. We're good.
I'm gonna give it to you, but what you need to do is you just wave your hand in front of the camera and be like, no.
Jedi mind trick. I gotcha.
Jedi mind trick.
Yeah. Old Ben Kenobi.
So that story's kind of put to bed. But any other stories you kind of want to talk about in security that's ticking you off?
So kind of a pot calling the kettle black thing. And I posted this one also over my Twitter feed at Charles Tendell. So Microsoft, the wonderful holder of everyone's data, and the same organization who kind of allowed who would allow people access or was reading people's email just on the fly because they felt like it, is turning around and suing the government over unconstitutional cloud data searches. So they're suing the Fed, from what I understand is to be the Fed is using them and trying to find data on its particular users. So Microsoft feels that's a big deal and a big no-no, and they don't want people following or doing these crazy things anymore. So they decided, hey, I'm going to sue you. We're going to get all the data back to prevent you from disclosing our customers' information. But it's Microsoft, the people who just hand over data anyway. So what did the Fed actually do? I have no idea. It says, in today's complaint, Microsoft says that Section 2705B of the Electronic Communications Privacy Act sweeps too broadly and simply gives the government too much power in gagging companies as it pursues investigations and alleged criminal activity. And indeed, the numbers seen are rather startling. Over the past 18 months, federal courts have issued nearly 2,600 secrecy orders. Do you know what a secrecy order is?
Is that when you kind of request data, but then you say, but keep it quiet?
It's a gag order. It is a gag order. It basically says we're gonna come after you. You're gonna give us what it is that we want, but you're not allowed to tell anyone that we asked for this data. So it would be like, hey, I want you to go out here and talk to Charles, but you can't tell Charles that I told you to talk to me. Right.
You
I
know
told you.
who
Something like that.
the last time I saw something about that was there's a website out there called Reddit, very very popular.
Love Reddit.
Yeah, there if you know how to use it, it can be a great tool. But there's a lot of idiots like there is anywhere on the internet. But Reddit had this one clause in their privacy statement that they release every year, and they called it a privacy canary, or something canary,
Yeah.
where they said in it was in there in like the 2012, 2013, 2014, 2015, saying that we have not received any requests for information from the U.S. from the U.S. government. And then in the 2016 privacy report that they just released a couple weeks ago, that clause was nowhere to be found.
Exactly. They have an electronic canary. I don't remember what the actual term is, but I've got one. If I go dark, I've got things that are going to post on the internet that are going to say, "Hey, this is what's going on," and that's just the way. That's the way people who are in my industry or in the world or data traffickers, they operate. I mean, if something were to happen with Reddit, and you can assume that because that clause disappeared, that Reddit is now under the investigation of a 3-letter government agency who's asking for data from them.
This is like a digital version of you say, hey, if anything happens to me, you try to kill me. I already have 3 letters of friends they're all going to go to the newspapers and tell everything about the thing that you want to keep private. If you know. And
an electronic dead man switch.
Yeah, basically is what they have.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right.
And it's fun stuff. I mean, I wouldn't recommend it I mean, most normal people don't need it, but it does give you the opportunity to say, I acknowledge my privacy. I want to keep my privacy. I want to prevent people from abusing my privacy. So here's what I'm going to do. And, it's sad that it's come to that. It's sad that we live in an environment, in a society now where people are so worried about their safety, their lives, or their legal and financial well-being that they have to put up things like this, to potentially prevent 3-letter government agencies from embarrassing them or stealing from them or just otherwise causing them harm.
Yeah, what's normal today anyway?
I don't know. I honestly don't know. I knew there was a normal at one point.
Yeah, but they keep moving that little line.
Yeah, there was a normal at one point. I mean, I think you were normal at one point, but then I saw the pictures of you and the white belt and all that other stuff, and then normalcy just went out the window.
He's talking about many, many, many years ago when I was a nightclub entertainer.
He's a lounge singer. Let's put it into perspective.
Yeah, that's a little prim proper. Craig Crossan was a nightclub singer in his 20s, so I guess he got his funkiness out in his early.
It was
his funkiness.
A carefree, fun life. That was it. No worries, no responsibilities. It was really a lot of fun. But okay, so here we are again, so what else?
Well, wait. So Microsoft sues the U.S. government, and they're probably just doing that as a show of, we're tired of receiving all these requests and these requests and all these gag orders, and I know Google.
But here's something that you should ask yourself, right? If Microsoft, right, the entire federal government runs on Microsoft. The entire thing, like right. it all runs on Microsoft products. So for Microsoft to come out and finally say, I've had enough and I'm not going to take it anymore, how much do you think, how far do you think it's gone? We've now seen Microsoft do it. Apple's done it. Google's the only one that's pretty much like, we'll let you, rummage around through all of our data. Sure.
I think Google, at least with Gmail, said that they will start, kind of giving you a pop-up in your Gmail saying that, so-and-so organization is looking into you, or someone is looking into your email.
Yeah, no, they didn't do that.
They didn't do that?
They don't do that. I mean, if you can find me an article where Google says that, I mean, I will take you at face value for it. But I can tell you from personal experience, Google doesn't do that.
I just sworn that was a story.
Yeah,
But
Google
okay.
doesn't. I mean, Google is the Fed's best friend. It knows where you are at all times. It knows who you're talking to. It's got your phones. It's got your emails. If I can get your Google and your Facebook, I know everything there is to know about you.
Got it.
And Google doesn't make it difficult. So
Right.
where's this article?
Yeah,
There we
you
go.
know, and here's the only article that I could really find on it in BGR, you know, as reputable as they can be. It says that Google says 1 million Gmail accounts may have been targeted in government hackers, and you know that of course going, you know, from our government. So, and here's the warning that they'll pop up saying that government-backed attackers may be trying to steal your password, and they'll give you that pop-up if they believe that, you know, someone's coming after your email.
Oh, see, I remember that one. That makes sense. Government-backed attackers may be coming after. That's if you get maliciously hacked. It's not if the three-letter government agency has just issued a warrant and is coming to get your stuff. It's if I were to go and just start willy-nilly hacking into Facebook accounts is what that's for.
Okay.
And if what they do is if you go into your Gmail and you go to your security page and you scroll into there and down in there, you see, you know, recent login, recent activity, and things of that nature, and it shows you what IP address was logged into your account recently. Now, using those IP addresses and known lists and things of that nature, people can usually figure out where these came from. And if it came from what might be a state-sponsored actor, then they notify a user. Hopefully, I never get on that list, but you know.
These lists. You know, we always say list, but you know, there has to be someone out there curating. You know, who are threats, who's interesting, who's doing suspicious things. So there has to be a list somewhere out there.
Yeah.
Shh, I'm on it.
You probably curate it for all we know.
Right, I am the holder of the list. I know the list of all the malicious actors. It's fun, you know. I'm now adding Ben and Craig to this list.
Great.
You are going to get so many viruses if you look at what I look at. It is going to be a bad time.
This is why you should go over and listen to Larry and switch to complete Linux and get off the Windows machine, because if you stay on Windows much longer, you know, eventually, you know, the viruses are going to crush your machine.
We actually don't have Larry Bushy anymore. He's actually Marcel Gagne, who is our
Marcel Gagne.
Yes, Marcel.
Have you met Marcel?
Have you met Marcel? I
sounds
don't believe you
familiar.
have.
Huh.
He's Canadian.
He likes to drink wine. That's a big part of him.
Well, he's on the
I
air.
like wine.
We actually have the wine of the month as we discuss Linux.
The wine of the month as it pertains to Linux. I like that. I like that. I used to drink on the show too. It made things go smooth.
It
Helps him there too.
It makes for a delightful 2 hours listening to
Right?
him. Yeah, it does. Exactly.
So, closing out Microsoft suing the government, Microsoft is upset because the government continues to try and get their data from them and telling them to be quiet about it. We'll see from the next coming weeks, months, days, or years how that impacts Microsoft, but the fact that one of the Fed's biggest partners in everything tech is tired of their stuff means that they've gone over and above what they should be, and yes, we as consumers should be terrified that right now we have a government who's just abusing power left and right, and because we are hyper connected, they are hyper watching and listening to everything.
So, but I think the problem that a lot of consumers face nowadays is that more and more companies, like they kind of don't. I believe that they're reading the market, and that they don't want your credit card anymore, or at least they don't want your payment anymore. Really, they want your address, your name, your phone number, your personal information, what other kind of websites you go to. Like they want your data and your online your digital footprint more than they want your credit card. So when more and more companies out there are asking for more and more data and more personal information, what can the consumer do to kind of I don't want to say that if you're on the internet, then you are 100% guaranteed going to be a target for your local government agency. I don't want to say that, but I want to say that people out there, they are being asked to give out more and more, and it seems like what you're saying is that you should be careful who you give your information out to.
It's not even a matter of who you give your information out to anymore. I mean, everyone has all of their information. And the two biggest places where your information is stored are Facebook and Google. And Facebook and Google are in bed with the Fed, and they give away all of your information anyway. But how can you be more secure? How can you be better? How can you have an actual piece of privacy? Is just to take a couple of additional steps. Use a VPN. Use encryption on your phone, because all phones have the ability to do it right now. Just turn it on and use it. It's not going to slow you down. Be mindful of who uses your computer. You turn on the encryption on your computers. That's easy to do. Unless you're on Microsoft, then you have to jump through every hoop in the book to do it. It's really now these things. What should be, all of these things should be the standard instead of being the option. And until we can get consumers to start thinking that way, then it's just going to continue to be easier. And that's what the Fed is afraid of. The more consumers that are worried about their privacy and worried about the data that they have and worried about all that other stuff, the harder it's going to be for them to actively spy on you. So let's make the Fed's job harder and start using this technology.
And will that...
It doesn't sound like being a good citizen is, make your government work harder, but...
Well, no. You making your government work harder also makes you more secure. So the government is having a hard time preventing people from hacking them. You step up your security, you'll make the government's job significantly easier if it's harder to hack the consumer that they're supposed to be protecting. So if you have all of your ducks in a row and you are secure and you've got all of that stuff together, they don't have to worry about you getting hacked. Now they will worry because now they can't use your material, which is what's funny. The Fed is not going out and they're not encouraging consumers to bolster their security. They're trying to use it as malicious hackers are doing this. We're trying to protect you by getting backdoors into all of the stuff that you're using. These hackers, right? These hackers are evil people, and they've got all the keys, they've got all the encryption, and we can't stop them. Well, consumers, the way security works, the way ethical hacking, the way cybersecurity works is very simple. Make yourself harder a target than the guy next to you, and they'll go to the guy next to you. And if out of 10 people are more secure than the next 100 people, guess who's getting hacked in that group?
Like water takes, and electricity takes the path of least resistance.
Least resistance.
Yeah.
See, I thought you were going to say like the bear or the shark. Kind of thing. You don't have to run faster than the bear. You just have to run faster than your friend.
You don't have to run fast. I don't have to run faster than that there, bear. I just have to kneecap you. That's all I got to do.
Either one.
Pretty much. And so, but I guess it's good that companies, between Apple and looks like Microsoft is getting a little fed up with the Fed. It seems like they're starting to, I don't know if it's affecting their bottom line or not, but if they can at least look like that they're on the consumer side, then then they're going to have some goodwill, and so it seems like it's a good time for companies to, kind of grab that easy free PR and saying that we believe you have the right to your own data, blah blah blah. Yeah.
The one thing I would be most worried about with that, the one thing I would be 100% most worried about with that is, are they doing it for PR or are they actually doing it for the consumer's best interest? If they're doing it for just PR, then they're like, yes, we're going to totally keep your information secure while ushering in the Fed on the other side, or saying we're only going to keep your data as secure as we feel fit to keep your data secure, but it'll be slightly more secure than it was 5 minutes ago. So you've got to kind of not rely on these companies and not take everything that they're saying at face value. I mean, Apple has been tried and true. We've seen Apple actually go to the mat with government agencies to prevent encryption. Anytime I've gotten one across my desk that wasn't already vulnerable to something in iOS, if it was the latest version, 9 times out of 10 you can't get into it, so that's a test. It's really a matter of, as a consumer, take the matters into your own hands and make yourself less of a target than the guy next to you. Don't rely on the government. Don't do it.
Right.
Just try a little harder.
Yeah, it makes complete sense because that's one thing that we even heard about Apple. As much goodwill as they got, they said that if the San Bernardino, if they had just left it connected to the iCloud, or at least activated the iCloud,
would have been good.
then they would have handed over the information because it was uploaded to the iCloud, and
Mm-hmm.
they can do whatever they want with that data.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, as much goodwill as we have with Apple, Apple said, if it was in the right place at the right time, we would hand that over in a heartbeat. Just
Exactly. We could help you. We could help you, but you screwed up. So now we can't help you. So now you have to work with that device. You have to work with what you have. But if you hadn't done it, we'd have been great. So it's 6 in one hand, half dozen on the other.
makes sense.
Have you ever been approached by the government, Charles, to help?
He's from the government. What are you talking about?
Shh. Ben, you're going to blow my cover.
That's your background. That's why I like you. It gives you all that credibility.
In my background, I have worked with several different three-letter government agencies. As of late, I have not been approached positively by a three-letter government agency. I encourage them to do so because I would love to help. I would 100% be down to helping the Fed actually pursue a more secure, a more streamlined ability to protect national security. I would love for them to stop, harassing actual good hackers and embrace, and just, if they have the opportunity to build a cyber, agency, I would so love to run that.
Well, you never know who's listening to the show.
Right.
And if you get contacted, we get a finder's commission. Remember?
Okay. All right. Now, if you get contacted, you can tell them that I'm in my undisclosed location.
Yes. Okay. Mr.
No, we run the show on Google Calendar, so they know everything.
They know you're here. They know where to find you at all times.
So what is it you do at Azorian? Just tell a little bit to our listeners.
Azorian is an ethical hacking and vulnerability research firm. We specialize in threat intelligence and computer forensics and digital investigations for different companies, for different consumers, for different people. We took kind of penetration testing and married it with bounty programs, and we approach companies and say, look, we will do a penetration test for you at no cost to you if you're part of our bounty program, and our bounty program pays us depending on the level of vulnerabilities. But at the end of it all, you still end up with that pretty little report that you can put in your portfolio and say, we had our annual penetration or quarterly penetration test. So we are hackers first, and we enjoy doing what we do, and we're going to keep it on.
All right.
Did you know there's a project, Azorian, with the CIA?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
It's like, I see.
I was like, I googled it, and I was like, check that out.
I see what you did there. Yes, the Azorian. Now, that's also a great way to talk about how Azorian got its name. So, as hackers, we frequently use the term "I can neither confirm nor deny," which is known as the GLOMAR response. The Howard Hughes GLOMAR Explorer was the ship that was built by Howard Hughes and a couple of other three-letter government agencies during the late 70s, I believe it was, during the 70s, to raise a sunken Russian nuclear submarine under the assumption that it was a underwater drilling platform test, and they could neither confirm nor deny that that's what they were doing. But they did it out in front of everyone. They did it immediately in the public. They brought in all these different people. They had yachters and boaters that were hanging out. The Russians watched them while they were doing it, and they pulled it off for the most part. So, and that was a great name to name a cybersecurity company. So, Azorian Cybersecurity became the name.
Makes absolute sense.
Yes, and this was born. Well, Charles, listen, we're I guess we're almost out of time. Anything else you want to let us know, our listeners know about what's coming up or what you're doing? And
if you're in the Colorado area, keep an eye out on my Twitter feed. It looks like I will actually be getting my own radio show, so that's gonna be fun and exciting. And I'm still not sure how that's working. We are going to be at DEF CON and Black Hat. We are going to be actively recruiting for people here very, very soon. So keep an eye out. Follow me on Twitter at Charles Tendell, and reach out, talk to me. Let's see what we do.
And we're going to try to work with Charles to get him when he's out at DEF CON to do a show with us while he's out there, kind of covering DEF CON for us here at Computer America. It's in August, so we have a little time, but something certainly we're going to work on. Hey, Charles, what can I say? It's always a pleasure having you here on the show.
You too, Craig. Thanks for having me.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And, we'll keep in touch and let us know something comes up that you want to talk about. Certainly let us know. And we'll
Definitely. Definitely. There's a lot out there this year, and there's going to be a lot more. We're only not even halfway through the year, and whoo.
Exactly. All right, my friend, you take care, and Ben and I will see you next time. I'm sure we'll be soon. Okay.
All right. Bye, guys.
Have a good one.
Take care. Bye-bye, Charles. Thank you. All right, there he goes again. Charles Tendell, certified ethical hacker and friend of the Computer America show. You can see more about his website if you go to our website at computeramerica.com. He's right there on our homepage.
Did he say he was getting his own radio show?
Yeah, he did. He said he's going to get his own radio show.
We might have to kneecap him.
We might have to, kneecap him? Did you say?
Yeah, I'd break his legs.
You can't kneecap me. That's not how it works.
Try to. You're right. That just make you sit more and more time for a radio show. Oh,
yeah.
Man.
Hell, maybe we can coordinate with him and we can kind of cross promote and do things together. That'll actually be a lot of fun. So we could do something like that.
I'm an expert at nothing, Charles. I just hope you remember that. So so if you need an expert at nothing, I got you.
All right, coming up in hour 2, we do have some really interesting news stories. Of course, Netflix is in the news again. They've just flipped the switch, and they're turning on something that I think you will be really interested in hearing about. And also, of course, Microsoft is always in the news. But they've used their artificial intelligence to conjure up captions for your photos.
That can't go wrong.
Yeah, exactly. And also, how to build a VR-ready PC. Are you ready for virtual reality? You may think so, but you probably aren't. Anyway, those stories and more coming up in the second hour of the Computer America show. 347-884-8881. Another News Tips Bulletin review coming up as well. We're going to be right back.
Broadcasting live. It's the only national radio talk show on computers to air every weeknight. Computer America. Hosted by national columnist Craig Crossman. The first hour's behind us, but there's still more of tech news, tech talk, and your phone calls. We're being beamed nationwide at ComputerAmerica.com. You got computer problems? Bring them on. You're listening to Computer America. Computers run the world, and we run computers. Call us or send us an email to live@computeramerica.com.
Hello and welcome into hour 2 of the nation's longest running, nationally syndicated radio talk show on computers. This is the Computer America show. And I'm your host, Craig Crossman.
And I'm your co-host, Ben.
And we just had certified ethical hacker Charles Tendell on the show with us. He's a lot of fun having him on the
We
program.
didn't even invite him. He just hacked himself in.
Yeah, right, exactly. We were just doing the show and there he was. Poof. No, we invited him. We wanted him to be here on the program, and is that he's a friend
Of course.
Of course. And again, if you missed any portion of that, you can always listen to the show at any time. Just head over to ComputerAmerica.com, click on the archives on the menu bar. It says archives. You can listen to the show time shifted. It's available on Apple's iTunes, SoundCloud, Stitcher, on the TuneIn Radio Network, on the IRN Radio Network, the Blog Talk Radio Network. Carries archives of the show. We even have our own YouTube channel, so you can actually watch the videos as well. We have links to all of that at ComputerAmerica.com, which is the internet home of a radio broadcast. Just to remind you, tomorrow is our social media contest, and it's the very first time we're going to be giving away that brand new prize from Logitech. We've been giving away the MX2 Anywhere wireless mouse. Now we have a brand new prize from Logitech, and it is called the M535 Bluetooth mouse, valued at $40. It works with Windows, Mac, Chrome, OS, the Android, basically anything that you got Bluetooth, this mouse is going to work with it. Really slick. It's going to be the first time we give one away this coming Friday, but so you still have time. Head over to ComputerAmerica.com. Right under there where it says Interact on the pull down. It's the third item. It says Social Media Contest. Select that. You go to our Social Media Contest page. We have a link so you can see more about the M535 Bluetooth mouse from Logitech, which we're giving away. Also, we have all the links to the 5 different social media platforms that we currently support Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Pinterest, and Google Plus. Click on any one of them and just register. Just one time. Yes, so you have to do it. Facebook, you just have to like our Facebook page. Just follow our Twitter feed. I mean, each one. Yeah, and every time you do that, each one counts for an entry, up to 5 entries every single week. And again, you only have to do it one time, and then you have 5 entries from that point on. So to win this mouse, and really, you have a very good chance. We may be calling your name, but you have to do it. So again, head over to computeramerica.com and get your entry in, and you'll be very happy, that you did it. Okay, because it could be you or your name we're calling next. So, Ben, anything else before we get started doing our computer news?
Anything else before we do computer and technology news? No. I think I'm good.
I was hoping one day something will come up and say, I need to. Yeah, there's something I've been meaning to tell you.
I just said today.
Yeah.
You said anything else this morning.
Yeah.
And I feel like if I did have something else to say, I would have said it this morning.
Yeah.
Earlier
yeah.
in the show.
By the way, actually, this is a good time to mention that this morning we had some technical difficulties with our website. We've had a number of emails, people saying, "What was wrong with your website? I can't access it." Basically, it was a little glitch. The hosting service that has our domain and everything, we made a couple of changes, and I said to them several times over, "Is this going to affect us in any way?" "No, you're going to be fine. Nothing, no problem. It's it'll take a moment to trickle down, and everything will be fine. Don't worry about it." Well, this morning, got up, went to, I knew we were in trouble when I tried to check my email, and my email didn't work. I got an error message. I said, "Oh, no." And then I went to the website, couldn't get it. It said the website was completely down. Everything else worked. So it wasn't my internet connection. It was all working. So I knew without a doubt, it was our web hosting service. They had caused the problem. So I called up their tech support people, spent an hour on the phone with them. Yes, even radio talk show hosts have to go through the same thing. So I feel your pain, as they say, having to do this. But I got a very knowledgeable guy, knew what was going on. For the moment, I kind of explained it to him. He knew where to go. Walked me through everything. We made the changes we need to make, and now everything is working fine and is continuing to do so. I don't know, maybe tomorrow morning I'll wake up again and it'll be something else, but I think now we've solved the problem. He knew most of what was wrong. A couple of things he couldn't explain why. So, well, why was it this? And then when we changed it, why did this change? And he says, I don't know. So, which always makes me a little nervous. Because if the super IT techie kind of guys who do this stuff, eat it, drink it for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, if they don't know why it was doing that, then that really that does concern me. But again, I think everything is up and running. It looks fine. I've gotten a lot of emails from you saying, hey, your website's back up, so thank you for that. But know that it can happen to even the the most technical. It can happen. Things can break. I would think it's a good chance if you're going to make some sort of a change to your whatever your domain name registrar or renewing a registration. I mean, if something's going to break, it's just going to break at that time, and kind of expect it. That something's going to happen, because it's been my personal experience that these things happen. With the best of intentions, when you have everything covered. When I made all the changes with the technicians and everything, made sure that it was all working, and they said, yeah, it's going to be fine, it'll trickle down, and it happens. Things do break, and from where you least expect it, because he finally figured out one of them was really convoluted. It had to do with not them, but with WordPress, because a pointer had changed one thing. The old was still pointing to the old location. So, but he knew at least where to go in and find that, and made the change, and so we're fine now. Okay. Anyhow, that said, I think it's time to do some computer news.
All right,
let's do it. Today's computer and technology news is brought to you by Slimware Utilities, the official optimization software of Computer America. You can visit them at slimwareutilities.com to clean, speed up, and optimize your Windows system. Slimwareutilities.com. Check them out. You'll be very glad that you did, and you'll thank us for it. Really. Slimwareutilities.com.
Oh, right. So, let's see. Where do we want to start with here? Let's do movies real quick because there's a couple new interesting takes on movies that are coming out soon, and I don't think I included the other one in here. But Craig, have you seen the
Yes.
the poster and the trailer for Doctor Strange?
Yes. That's with
Benedict Cumberbatch.
Benedict Cumberbatch, yes, exactly. A terrific actor. For those of you who might, you'll know him from the Star Trek movie. He played Khan in there, and of course from the movie that he did about the
Penguins.
No, the Enigma machine, breaking of the Enigma code, the Imitation Game.
That too.
Yeah, the Imitation Game. You'll recognize him when you see him, but he has that. You don't. He didn't have the
until you watch the trailer for Doctor Strange because he looks very in character there. He has a big old beard. He's bushy. He's he looks ragged, but the trailer, it's just a teaser trailer. It's only about 1:40 long, I believe. But definitely go check it out. It's in the same universe as Marvel. So,
is it a TV series or is it an actual movie?
It's a movie. It's a full-blown movie. It's coming out November 16th, I want to say.
Now, I don't know if you. I've been a fan of Doctor Strange. I as a kid, used to read the Doctor Strange comics, and
he's a much different character in the Marvel universe, is because he is a legitimate sorcerer. Like like where others may have like some kind of magical influence, or like Aquaman, where they're born in in a supernatural place and they have like a magical staff or something like that, or just where others kind of have influences of magic. Doctor Strange is that hero that is completely magic based. Like he is one of the most powerful heroes in the Marvel universe because he is all about magic.
Yeah. And it's interesting. I'm not sure why they decided to select Scarlett Johansson as this major Atoko Kusanagi character, but because she's known in the Marvel universe.
Well, no, Scarlett. The story that we're actually looking at, this is for Ghost in the Shell, which is a different franchise.
Okay. So she's not in the Doctor Strange movie.
No,
okay.
no. We're just talking about Doctor Strange in general, and then we'll get to the Scarlett Johansson.
Okay. All right. So again, you're right. He is completely magic based, and
if you haven't seen the trailer yet, please go do, because the visuals, even in the trailer, because you'll see this more and more where they will put out trailers that aren't even finished yet. Like the CGI isn't up to par. Like you can see like take a movie like Deadpool, for instance.
Yeah.
You'll see a screenshot of the trailer 12 months out, and then they'll have a new trailer out 6 months later, and the CGI will be even better. And then the release date, the CGI will be even better than it was in 6 months. But the CGI as it stands in the Doctor Strange trailer are stunning. Like a lot of people said, it had a very strong sense of was it Inception, with all the dreams and the mind bendingness. Yeah, it has it's like Inception, but now you have a superhero who wields magic. So
that was Leonardo DiCaprio started.
Yeah, but please go check out the trailer. It's very, very cool.
I haven't looked at it, but I definitely will go see it. So
yeah, please, Doctor Strange trailer, and it should pop right up.
All right,
so it's gonna be very, very cool. Okay. All right, but this other story talking about movies is this one from Popular Science, and this is the first look at Ghost in the Shell with Scarlett Johansson. And Craig, I'm assuming because you mistook the two universes, that you aren't familiar with Ghost in the Shell.
No, I have not. No, I'm not.
All right, so Ghost in the Shell was an anime back in the late 90s, mid to late 90s, and it got it also received an anime television show, where it had a couple different, kind of iterations. But back in the late 90s, or mid to late 90s, the anime kind of questioned everything that we're kind of talking about today. It was all about artificial intelligence. It was about cyborgs. It was about, kind of super humans getting supernatural powers. It was about the consciousness. It was about what is what is the self, and it was an anime, which you think, oh, just cartoons, but it was a very serious look into where technology is going to take us, and what is the self when you can just have a body with an artificial brain that you can essentially throw the consciousness from here, there, and everywhere, and then even connect all those consciousness and have it, kind of like the internet, but connecting with your brain instead of through a terminal. So it was a very, very interesting premise, and of course, there's lots of action, gunfights, a lot of warfare, a lot of hacking in the Hollywood sense, not in the Charles Tendell sense. But it was very, very provocative, when it first came out, and it's definitely kept its appeal. And it's kept its appeal so much that it is now getting a live action movie, which is going to be adapted for, of course, the U.S. mainstream audience. So today, the movie studio behind the film, Paramount, tweeted out the first image for the set, showing Scarlett Johansson, who's here at this image, as the film's lead character, who in the show is just called the Major, but it's Major Motoko Kusanagi, and she's kind of the heroine of the whole thing, and it's very, very cool. So Scarlett Johansson has one of the most interesting resumes among A-list Hollywood talent. As an indie darling early in her career, Johansson has excelled as portraying science fiction and futuristic characters that others might think as too niche. She's, of course, Black Widow, as Craig mentioned.
Yeah, Lucy.
Lucy. And Johansson has emerged as the go-to actor for pictures wishing to explore the future. So, and now one of the first images of the Ghost in the Shell are so, which is why the first images are so interesting. Adapted from an insanely popular manga comic series turned iconic 1995 cyberpunk film, Ghost in the Shell is one of the properties that unquestionably influenced the look and the feel of modern grungy dystopian sci-fi. Because really, back in '95, it was like really one of the first that said, here's where technology could take us, and it kind of had an authoritarian dystopian future kind of look to it. So, again, for those of you who are not familiar with the anime, Johansson plays the main character who heads the counterterrorism organization Public Security Section 9. In the manga and the anime, they have been genetically enhanced and is more cyborg hybrid than wholly human. And the film takes place in entirely non-copacetic 21st century Japan. So, however, the first film image alone has already stoked controversy, saying that this is another case of whitewashing, which is unfortunately definitely happening, because with this live action, this is like the whole story is centered around Japan. This is a 21st century counterterrorism technology in Japan with Japanese characters and Japanese kind of influence. But here we have Scarlett Johansson playing what we assume is going to be a completely U.S. centric, or in some way whitewashed kind of plot, which we're seeing more and more often. I mean, they have a new movie coming out for Akira. I don't know if you remember that anime.
Yes, I remember Akira.
It got really, really popular there for a minute because it was very, very graphic and very, very mature, and it was definitely different than a lot of the other anime that people had seen up to that point. But yeah, they're making a live action out of that as well, about gangs battling in the streets of Tokyo, and the Akira movie is actually going to be kind of like the same thing, but with white people in New York. So these classic iconic Japanese movies are getting nothing but white actors in American settings. So a lot of people don't like that, because they think that some of what makes the source material interesting is where they're based, and and everything that goes along with that.
I guess they're relying on the quote unquote star power of these people to attract people.
To the star power to trump any kind of controversy that can come out of whitewashing them. So
yeah, exactly, because if you're going to see one of these pictures and it has a recognizable star in it, that you're probably more inclined to go than if you're seeing a bunch of names and of actors who are not American, and that's not to say that it can't be just as good, but I think people are less inclined to go see them. So I think
because I guess you can't have every movie just comprised of Jackie Chan, Bruce Lee, and Lucy Liu.
right.
Like I guess you can't just have like the same three Asian actors. And until more and more actors kind of make it big here in America that are that have Asian origins, it's just who are your A-list actors, and you work with what you have. So.
Not for lack of trying too, but they are, but it's just it's difficult to break into the.
Yeah, but that's the politics of Hollywood, and we don't really care about that. Just make good movies. Yeah. So the film will be directed by Rupert Sanders of Snow White and the Huntsman. Didn't watch that, and it won't drop until the spring of 2017. And even accounting for the criticism of the lack of diversity, a lot of people are already excited. Are already excited about it. So if you've enjoyed any kind of kind of future dystopian, Sector 9, or I'm sorry, District 9, or kind of any futuristic paramilitary future, Ghost in the Shell really probably did influence that. So this is going to be very, very exciting when it comes out.
All right, and you might want to catch it, see it.
So check out Ghost in the Shell first picture, Scarlett Johansson, and also check out Marvel's Doctor Strange teaser trailer.
Yes, absolutely. We'll definitely check it out. So
I would play it on our video portion, but last time I did that, I kind of got in trouble with Google, so it was weird.
Okay, so we're going to continue on. Here's an interesting story again from Tech Hive, and it's talking about Netflix. Evidently, Netflix is getting ready to flip the switch on an eye-popping HDR video streaming service. Right, high dynamic range.
All you guys who just went out and bought those, those new expensive 4K televisions, and you're like, oh, but this one has HDR. Oh, but it's $300 more. Oh, I just get the one without HDR. Well, now you can start kicking yourself.
So if you have a 4K TV, you can't get HDR video? Is that what you're saying?
No, your television has to be HDR compatible, and with the HDR compatible thing, you need a special kind of display, and those displays usually cost a couple $100 more to put in. So when you're comparing prices, most people, because really up until Netflix does it, there has been very, very few kind of sources of television shows or movies that actually broadcast in HDR. So why bother getting it? So I think a lot of people probably skipped it to save the money, but now that there is probably going to be some content for it, you might kick yourself because you have a brand new television that is not capable of HDR.
So the one that we bought, the Vizio,
it's not capable of HDR.
It's not capable. So but we can still see the streaming. We just can't see it in HDR because now I did turn. I paid the extra few bucks for Netflix because we can see 4K video, and we do have.
For anyone out there who has a more recent camera, most camera phones have a mode called HDR, and whenever that activates, like you can see the difference between a normal picture and one with HDR. Like the colors just seem to like pop off the screen.
Yeah. Well, there you go. Anyway, they flipped the switch, and they've added high dynamic range video for TVs that support it, but the bandwidth requirements are also very steep. And they said they've turned this on. And as Ben explained, HDR, since short for high dynamic range, allows for much higher brightness levels and a greater range between dark and light. Well, I got to tell you, though, when our TV goes to a black scene, it looks like the TV is turned off. It's just amazing colors.
And HDR would be even better.
Evidently. As a result, bright highlights and shadowy scenes have much more color detail compared to standard dynamic range. For now, Netflix's sole HDR offering is season 1 of Marco Polo. But the company has told Flats Panels HD that Marvel's Daredevil will get HDR in the future. Now, it's unclear what other shows might get HDR support, as Netflix has yet to make an all original shows pledge as it previously did for its 4K ultra high definition programming. Now, that's not exactly launching with a bang, but most people won't be able to take advantage of HDR right now anyway. To play back HDR content, you need a capable TV, and they only started trickling onto the market last year. TV makers are pushing the new format hard this year, however, and if you buy a high-end set in 2016 from vendors such as LG, Samsung, Sharp, Sony, or Vizio, there's a good chance it will support HDR. Okay. Netflix, are you sure? Because I thought I saw HDR in one of the menu options on TV. We're gonna have to go check it out again. Because
I don't believe so.
All right. Anyway, Netflix also has its own requirements for HDR playback. Subscribers will need Netflix 4K Ultra HD plan, which costs $12 a month. And as with existing 4K streams, Netflix recommends internet speeds of at least 25 megabits per second. That's 5 times faster what the Netflix recommends for its 1080p playback. As for particular HDR formats, Netflix is supporting both the open HDR10 and the proprietary Dolby Vision, the latter of which works on HDR sets from Vizio, TCL, and LG. And HDR10 is likely to be the baseline in any HDR stream, and Dolby Vision sets should support that format as well. So while there's a format war brewing, it's fairly low stakes for consumers. And although Netflix doesn't have much HDR content to show right now, it's still a big milestone for the service, and it brings subscribers up to par with Amazon Video, which started dabbling in HDR last year. With movie studios charging hefty prices for a la carte HDR streams and Blu-ray discs, subscription services like Netflix will be the cheapest path to enjoy your newest expensive TV for the foreseeable future. Again, from Jared Newman at Tech Hive. So there you go. So we may have it.
Yeah, and you know, we've seen so many things with television that, you know, better this, better that, this kind of new technology, you know, is in this television. And I think a lot of it we've kind of said, oh, that doesn't really matter. Just make sure it has, you know, X, Y, Z. But I think HDR, if you're really interested in a, you know, in the quality of colors and, you know, just how everything looks on the screen, then HDR is actually going to be a feature you're going to want to keep an eye out for.
Okay. Yeah, we just went to 4K. Look at that.
Yeah, and yeah, and it's already outdated. So yay! All right, so
yes,
that's HDR from Netflix. Let's head on over to in this short little time. Let's head on over to, you know, here's one that we actually saw on the local news the other night, but no, national news. It was national news, but it's a feel good story, so why not? You know, kind of talk about this, where a brain implant will let a quadriplegic man use his own hands. So yeah, and this was very exciting because you can actually see him. He, if I remember the story correctly, he was out, you know, just enjoying a day at the beach with his friends, dove headfirst into a wave, and unfortunately there was a sandbar on the other side of the wave. So you know, kind of got a spinal injury, and he is now a C7 quadriplegic.
Right.
So yeah, C7. So, you know, so about mid chest and down, he has no sensation whatsoever, and that includes his arms. And you know, very, very unfortunate. But he is undergoing a new type of testing where they were able to implant a chip into his brain that would collect and interpret signals going from his brain, send it through wires and cords into a cuff-like device on his wrist, and it would send electrical impulses to his hand through the cuff. So essentially, it's bypassing his spinal cord and sending the impulses directly from his brain to his hand. Now, of course, the downside to all this is that he gets no return feedback. So like his brain, you know, he has no sense of touch. Like he can't tell, you know, really when he's touching something, when he's squeezing something, but visually he can look at his hand and, you know, and kind of force his brain to think about, close your left hand, and his left hand will close. They had a video of him actually playing Guitar Hero, where he was, let's face it, if you handed a quadriplegic just a couple years ago, a plastic guitar to play video games on, they wouldn't even be able to hold the guitar. And now here he is actually playing it. So, and it's not the best dexterity, but it's a start. So, the feel-good story there was that they're hoping that with wireless technology, and, we talk about it all the time here on the show, it's getting better, faster, and, a more solid connection. They're hoping that this chip could, soon be implanted into the brain of patients who would then be connected to devices, these cuffs that would be less intrusive, that would communicate wirelessly with the chip in the brain, which would then kind of let them think about moving their limbs, and their limbs would move.
Well, does he think now the same way we do to move our fingers and our limb, or is he doing something else to do it?
I think he mentioned it was different. Like just like a person has to learn how to walk, it's a different way of controlling your hand. It's not a one-to-one comparison, but I'm sure they're doing a lot of research into if I think about closing my left hand, these parts of the brain activate, and then I'm sure the scientists are working to make the system respond to those active thoughts, because you don't want to be thinking, oh, I really do like spaghetti, and then all of a sudden your leg starts kicking. Like, they want to make sure that it's a very conscious effort to open and close your hands, so you're not just kind of just kind of losing control of your arm because you're thinking about the day at the beach. So, but it's very, very promising that they've gotten this far, and they're hoping that with a few more innovations on the technology side, not even the medical side, because I think they have the medical side pretty well mapped out, but on the technology side, they're hoping to make it much, much less intrusive, and they're hoping that people with any kind of serious nerve damage or spinal conditions could one day use this as a treatment to at least improve their quality of life.
All right, you're listening to the Computer America Show. Ben and I will be back right after these words. Hi, this is Craig Crossman, host of the Computer America Show. Long before Vistaprint asked me to tell you about them, my wife and I have been using Vistaprint for years, making business cards, having the Computer America logo placed on the polo shirts we use at conventions like CES, even printing a business card for our personal lives with our home address and phone number. In fact, Vistaprint offers tons of custom products for home and office needs, and Vistaprint absolutely guarantees you'll love their products every time, or they will make it right. In fact, they'll give you 500 business cards for just $9.99 when you enter my promo code Craig at checkout. Just go to their website at www.vistaprint.com and see how easy it is to design your own stuff using their web-based custom design service. Remember to use my code Craig and save up to 50% over their regular pricing. So don't wait. Go to Vistaprint.com and order today. Looking for a best friend? Brother Wolf Animal Rescue has your best friend waiting just for you. The mission of Brother Wolf Animal Rescue is to help build a sustainable, no-kill community where no dogs or cats are ever killed for population control, where true euthanasia is reserved only for animals who are irremediably suffering, or for animals who are truly a threat to society and with no hope of rehabilitation. Brother Wolf's staff and volunteers go door to door, neighborhood by neighborhood, to educate citizens about local resources available for at-risk pets and to help their families connect with those resources. Brother Wolf's community-based approach to no-kill helps keep family pets healthy, happy, and in their homes and out of the local shelter system in the first place. For more information or to make a tax-deductible donation to this wonderful 501c3 organization, visit their website at www.bwar.org. Help to realize Brother Wolf's vision when no animal is euthanized for lack of a home.
Who's a good boy?
Hi, boys and girls. Marty Winston with a News Tips Bulletin Review for Computer America. This time, the SkyDrop Smart Watering Sprinkler Controller. If you have a sprinkler system in your yard, the odds are that your only control over it is through a somewhat complicated timer. A SkyDrop smart watering sprinkler controller unlocks the clock to set the pace of sprinkling based on weather and on an adaptive nature. Not to say you don't set some scheduling, but yours won't be one of those houses running the sprinklers when it rains. It can automatically optimize watering to your soil type and your plants, and the system can expand to unlimited zones. You can also set it to meet limits on water usage or to set a water cost savings goal. It also troubleshoots your sprinkler heads. Bottom line, SkyDrop sprinkler controllers can help keep both plantings and your bank balance healthier. Marty Winston, News Tips Bulletin for Computer America.
Welcome back to the Computer America Show here, 33 minutes past the hour. We first hour, Charles Tendell. He was great. We had a great time with him as we talked all about hacking and security and all that kind of stuff. Please go check that out if you missed it. But here in this hour, we are doing computer and technology news brought to you by Slimmer Utilities. Just finishing up the story about a gentleman who, through advances in technology and technology in the medical field, as we're going to see so many innovations over the coming years, they said that there are different classifications for those who have spinal damage, and they said that while he is at a C7, which means again about mid chest to below, he has no sensation whatsoever. They're saying that with this with the technology in its current form, he actually has the disabilities of about someone who is about a C5, which is two designations lower. And of course, someone who has like a C1 would have like very, very, I wouldn't say very, very minimal because, those injuries are still very, very catastrophic. But, C1 is like the first, at the very bottom of the spine. You would have almost no, almost no sensation of your legs, something like that. So to go from a C7, which is awful, to a C5, which is still awful, but not as awful, is, a strong advocate for why technology and science needs to be pursued even further.
Yeah. Oh, I wonder if he goes over in his mind, that day, when he dove into the water, if I just hadn't done that.
I don't think you're supposed to advocate stewing on the past.
Yeah.
That leads to clinical depression.
Which is
not good.
Yeah, it's not good.
You're right, Greg. He should feel depressed.
No.
Point.
Not at all. Not at all. It sounds very encouraging. And again, we watched was it NBC Nightly News? We had he was talking about the story. It was like the last story. They always do the human interest story at the end. It was the last story.
You're right, but they somehow managed to end it on an upbeat note, and you just turned that into a very sad affair.
Okay.
What if he hadn't? What if he did?
Wasn't my intent. This next story from Engadget. Again, this is Microsoft's using their artificial intelligence to conjure up captions for your photos. In other words, it looks at a photo, the artificial intelligence says, "Oh, okay, that's you at the beach," and it'll say, well, evidently, according to the story from Mariella Moon, that these captions can be accurate, but at times they can be hilariously wrong. And again, Microsoft announced its latest addition to its growing list of fun tools that can analyze images a couple of weeks ago, and we've taken it for a quick spin. Okay, this particular AI is called Caption Bot. Describes photos you upload or link in natural human language with the occasional emoji to represent human emotions. Now, the results aren't always accurate, of course, but the more photos you feed it, the more it learns. And here's a note that will keep any picture you've uploaded. For example, here's one. They show a photo calling. They send looks like a view from a bridge. This is according to Daily Dot. CaptionBot is powered by a Microsoft Cognitive Services, which gives developers the power to create apps that use machine language-based intelligence. Cognitive Services gave rise to other image-based Microsoft tools that can guess your age, gauge how much you look like another person, and tell you what breed you are if you were a dog. So basically, the service's natural language capability, on the other hand, powered its failed chatbot Project Tay. We all knew about that. And they captured and compiled some of their attempts in the gallery above. Overall, it didn't do too bad, and it certainly knows its corporate, overlords. So there are a couple of images here that you can see. Microsoft Caption Bot attempts to describe some images, and it shows some of them. Unfortunately, I'm trying to download them, but I cannot do it. It doesn't seem to be working. Maybe you can do an example here.
No, it's not working for me either. But suffice to say, I guess the impetus behind this is that there are so many images. There are millions upon millions upon millions of photos being uploaded to the internet every day through forms of through Snapchat, through Facebook, through Instagram, through all these social media, that everyone has a photo and everyone uploads dozens of photos a day. That if you can better search them, and if you can better find an algorithm, not to just say there might be this or that, but caption them and then caption what is inside the photo, you can then better search. So if you say people at the park, if you had a program, if you had an artificial intelligence that could more accurately say, this is a park, these are people, here are all the photos with people in the park, then that's gonna be a great value to a lot of people.
Yeah, I would think so. Yeah, we're getting geotagging. We're getting all these different services that looks at our photographs or find the location, the time when you take something, and now this is like the next step after that.
Yep, just because again, there's so many photos that no one organization can sit down and take the time to to kind of spell out what is the subject of every photo. You have to have a machine to do this.
Yep. Well, hopefully it'll get more accurate.
Right. So, there's that one, and let's go on over to man, so many good news stories that I think we're gonna do this one. Tesla. They they are very, very popular right now. They announced their Model 3, which again starts at about $35,000, while still, kind of middle of the pack. Much, much cheaper for an electric car. And Tesla, let's face it, if you talk about electric cars, Tesla is the best electric car on the market currently. Like the Nissan Leaf and the Prius, which I think is a hybrid. They really don't stand up to what a Tesla does. And here we have the story from BGR saying that the Model 3 reservations approach 400,000, but production remains a challenge. So that creepy moment where we all said, okay, 24 hours after the Model 3 was announced, 200,000 people wanted a Model 3. And then, a couple days later, 250,000. And now we are fast approaching 400,000 people have signed up. And I think, Mike Cermak mentioned that the cost of reserving was only a $1,000 refundable. It was only a $1,000 refundable deposit. So the barrier for reservation, while not nothing, $1,000. Let's see. So for 400,000 cars, $1,000 that nets them. Let's see, 4 million, 40 million, $400 million just from people wanting a car.
Wow.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it is.
Okay, so saying that and this was again from their the VP of Business Development, Daria Moody O'Connell, said that they are about to reach 400,000 cars. Now, here's the problem. Tesla, of course, is clearly not blind to the challenge that lie ahead. When asked about the production plans, O'Connell explained that while the volume of Model 3 reservations is a great success, the real success will be delivering a great product at scale. So, indeed, even Elon Musk, in the wake of the Model 3's reservation tally, noted via Twitter that the company would have to rethink production planning. So, so while it's encouraging that Tesla is aware of the challenge ahead, it's worth noting that the company has not once ever met a launch deadline. So, hey, there's your history of competence, is that they've never once met a deadline. So, saying that, remember, the Roadster was delayed, as were both the Model S and the recently released Model X. Summing up things nicely, Jean-Louis Gasset, recently articulated that sometimes, quote, the design of the production process trumps product engineering prowess. So, in other words, the engineering of the Model 3 may be world class, but it won't mean a whole lot if Tesla can't be similarly innovative when it comes to manufacturing at scale. So, what is crazy is that Elon Musk's promise of being able to turn out 500,000 cars by 2020 used to elicit a bit of skepticism insofar as people doubted that that demand might reach 500,000 that soon. So, with Model 3 reservation likely to hit 500,000 before the end of the year, the initial 2020 deadline may need to be adjusted as well. Because they said, what half a million cars, Tesla? Do you really think 500,000 people are going to buy one of your overpriced electric cars? And here we are, just a couple weeks after they announced the Model 3, and you're already at 400,000. So speaking of deadlines and numbers and projections, Tesla's woefully off yet again because the demand is much higher than previously anticipated.
Wow, it's a good place to be, and yet not a good place to be.
Well, yeah, when your current production can only accommodate about 70 to 80,000 cars a year,
yeah,
and you have 400,000, and of course, their new Gigafactory should be ramping up production soon, and that's going to increase the numbers. But I guess a good place to be is when you have a product that more people want than can get their hands on.
Yeah, that's where they find themselves.
And then there's also the point of, well, if people want it, then you should be able to deliver it to them. So, from a business standpoint, they're definitely going to have to figure out how to produce more and more cars. Yeah. Because, and let's face it, who doesn't want a high-powered, high-ranged, sleek-looking electric car?
Right. And these are
never having to go back to the gas station, but just charging your car every day, and being able to go 200 miles on a single charge.
Yeah. Well, yeah, it's as I said, it's a great place to find them, but yet a bad place to be. But the point is the demand is there, and I think when the Gigafactory does get up and running, that they'll be able to start meeting more of the demand.
So we hope.
We hope. Okay. This next story is again from Popular Science. I said that this is coming, and evidently it's now here. Drone racing. It's now on ESPN. That's how popular this is proving. ESPN now has drone racing as a sport, and that
was quick.
Yeah, it was. With rotors and radios, we are witnessing the birth of a new sport. Aerial acrobatics, sharp turns, and staggering climbs that NASCAR can only imagine, all done on the cheap with toys and remote controls, from woods to warehouses and special courses in Dubai. That is one thing. Obviously NASCAR, very popular, but also the money is so huge. You just can't go out and get yourself a NASCAR and say, I want to enter a NASCAR. I mean, you have the sponsors, and
let's see. There's the barrier of entry for the people who want to race, and the fact that you have to not only find the backers, find the car, find the team, find the crew, find the publicist, find everything, but then you also have to apply for a limited amount of spots in the whole NASCAR circuit.
Right.
So the barrier for entry is incredibly high, and that's not even talking about what I think they were hinting at, is that where with drone racing, you can go to the woods, you can go to an old abandoned warehouse. For NASCAR, you have to have a huge stadium that costs hundreds of millions of dollars that has to be able to hold thousands upon thousands of fans, just to host the event. And then here, just go to an old abandoned warehouse and set up cameras. You're good.
Well, as I say, welcome to the new age of drone racing as it moves from backyards to broadcasts. So today, ESPN announced it will live stream the U.S. National Drone Racing Championships, a 3-day drone racing event held on New York City's Governor's Island in early August. I didn't know there was a U.S. National Drone Racing Championship. That formed really quick, didn't it? And then in October, ESPN will cover the 2016 World Drone Racing Championships at Kualoa Ranch in Hawaii. The drones are flown by pilots wearing goggles and watching through first-person vision cameras. To outsiders, it looks like a lot of buzzing robots, but for the pilots or anyone watching that first-person stream, it's the thrill of a roller coaster without the rails. So I'm wondering if they're going to actually display the feeds. I assume they will. I mean, if ESPN is featuring or hosting it, they have all the frequency ties into so viewers can actually watch the drones from the first perspective. They have that now with NASCAR. You know, they have the I guess it's called the establishment shot. You're watching the track, you know, from a distance, and you're watching the cars going around, and they kind of zoom in.
Oh, NASCAR, they do, you know, a camera switch every 4 seconds, and they can go from, you know, the rear view of a car, the front view of a car, the driver view, everywhere.
Yeah. Well, evidently they can do that with a lot less money and do it right here with drones, and so that's what's going to happen. So, and basically, basically, it's all, as I said, the thrill of roller coasters without the rails. Now, the ESP announcement is exciting. Is exciting itself, but to really get into the sport, there's a huge feature on drone racing from Quartz, and you can read it. Here's an excerpt. It says, "What's strange about drone racing, however, is that it's not really like any sport that comes before it. It's got the fast-paced racing action of sports like Formula One and NASCAR, the DIY, outsidery feel of skateboarding, and the techie, sedentary nature of esports or video game sports. But unlike all of these other sports, or really any sport before it, drone racing is actually best viewed from a distance after the fact. These drones are small and travel upwards of 60 miles an hour around large three-dimensional racetracks. It's hard to watch that live in person, especially with today's less than perfect technology. Millions of fans are sharing videos online of pilots juking and driving through abandoned buildings, old power stations, parking lots, empty fields, and watching them on their phones and laptops. But very few people are showing up to see drones race in real life. Indeed, what we may be witnessing is the birth of the first new sport of the internet age, a sport that isn't bound by time or collective experience, but instead a sport that is atomized and doled out in digital chunks, like so many Snapchats, Instagrams, Facebook links, and tweets before them. It's a sport basically for the 21st century. Well said. And they said, check out, there's a drone race in the woods in France, a drone race through an abandoned soap factory, and some flights at the World Drone Prix in Dubai. So they even have it set up there as well. But there you go. We're witnessing the birth of a new sport, drone racing. Look at that.
I think it's going to have to rely on more stringent kind of, because you can't just take it to a random warehouse and say, all right, here's the racetrack, blah blah blah. Like I feel like even though it's definitely better viewed after the fact, I think there's still going to have to be some kind of professionalism, to attract people. Even in something like surfing, where you can't even predict what the next wave is going to look like, what the next set is going to look like, what the next day of waves are going to look like. They still have a level of professionalism there, that they have the judges and they have a set of rules that's even for what you can't control, you have to be able to accurately judge what you can control. So I feel like these drone race courses are going to have to become standardized. I feel like there's going to have to be a league set up that is going to kind of cater to who did what better. It can't just be about speed. And there still has to be some polish, even though it's rough and gritty right now, and they kind of count that as a positive. If it's going to break into the mainstream, look at any other professional sport out there. Look at golf, look at NASCAR, look at football, look at hockey, look at volleyball, look at what have you, baseball. There is tons and tons of shine on those things. Mm-hmm. So I feel like drone racing has to do that as well. And right now, it really doesn't have that. There's drone races in old abandoned soap factories, like they said, and they're cool to look at, but like there's no shine to it.
It's like bare knuckle fighting, right? Before boxing, they met underground.
It's like it's like bare knuckle. It's like bare knuckle fighting and like Fight Club, where like you met in an abandoned warehouse basement.
Exactly right.
And it's like, that may be extremely entertaining to watch, but at the end of the day, it's not going to make it mainstream unless it's it has some production value.
It has production value. And another thing about the sports, I don't know if you know. The number one most dangerous sport is NASCAR is driving, race car driving, and the second most dangerous sport, believe it or not, is polo. because
you got those huge horses that can trample you.
A lot of people get hurt very badly, and you know what? There is and I hate to say it, but there's an attraction for that. People, sometimes go to them just to see,
it's primal.
Yeah, it's yeah, and I think that's what with drone racing you don't have that because it's very very detached. The drivers are not in the drones themselves; they're safely at a place, a remote spot, steering the. And if there's a crash, well, it's two drones, but they're pilotless. There's nothing going to happen. So, I don't know if you necessarily have the element or the thrill of potential.
Well, this is taking it on the back of like they said in the article, other esports. And whenever you play a game like League of Legends on an international stage, with prize pools in the millions of dollars, admittedly, no one's gonna walk off stage. Like the only way you're gonna get hurt is if you trip off and fall off the stage. But there's no physical kind of harm that could come to you.
No.
But they're still getting popular. So while yes, the blood sport of it is still very, very attractive. I think that's why people like wrestling and UFC. I think that's why they still that's still so popular in today's day and age. I don't know, there's something more to it. Just I think high technology also has its own appeal.
Yeah, no, I'm just saying, you're absolutely right, and also with the newness of it, it's very different, and I think it's certainly going to catch on. I just don't think it's going to catch on for the same reasons that the other ones, where there's potential danger to human life. The human participants and spectators are all remote from this. There's no, you're not going to get hit by a flying drone. So I think it's a fairly.
I feel like if there was something that is going to make this take off, it's going to be virtual reality.
Yeah, they can actually watch it wearing, the goggles. Certainly, that will be of interest. I think a lot of the first person's perspective, where the cameras, or where you actually watch what the drone is seeing. You can get the establishment shot of all the different drones, but then you're going to zoom in into a particular drone and watch it, or allow people who are watching it to select which drone they want to watch, or be in the seat with. So watching ESPN, that probably won't happen because it's a TV broadcast, so you probably won't be able to have that selectivity. You're going to watch it as they dispense it. But if ESPN has some sort of website or enhancement to it, and you can go on and watch the actual broadcast, and also be able to select which drone you want to watch from what perspective, that might be of interest too.
I feel like the technology is definitely there.
Yeah. But we're just on the ground floor. It's just getting started. And again, but the fact that ESPN has recognized it as a sport is a huge hurdle that's been overcome for this.
Yeah, they did that with esports about 2 years ago. So they're definitely open to the idea of new sports.
Yeah, ESPN covers video games now that they have their own esports channels. So they do have that. I guess it competes with like Twitch, but of course it has the ESPN name. Although Twitch is really getting its own name too, but again, not quite as mainstream as ESPN is.
Yep.
Do we have time to do another story? I don't know.
Yeah, link out this one real quick. In terms of things you should not do with technology, and this is a horrible story. I hope no one ever does this, and but here is a story that I really want to get in here because it is so important to show. I feel like the stupidity of people, where they're so there was this is from Engadget, and the title of it is teen indicted for periscoping her friend's sexual assault.
Oh,
and for anyone out there who doesn't know what periscoping is, it's like live streaming, where people can tune into your Periscope and kind of watch what you're watching. And yeah, this is according to the NBC affiliate KXAN, saying that these two girls were hanging out with this guy here, and after an intermittent period of time, they the guy started to assault the victim. And so from another state, one of the friends was watching the stream, reported it to the proper authorities, and a grand jury has recently indicted both the girl who's periscoping and the guy for with charges for 1 count of kidnapping, 2 of rape, and 1 of sexual battery, and 3 counts of pandering sexually oriented material involving a minor.
Wow.
And all this because and they also could be facing charges of illegal use of minor and nudity-oriented material or performance, i.e., they periscope this, the sexual assault of a minor, and now they could face charges up to 40 years in prison.
90 seconds.
Oh, there you go.
Folks, there are things to use technology for, and there are things that just decent human beings should not do. This story had errors in both.
Yeah. Hey, coming up tomorrow, again, thanks to all of you for listening to the show today. We're going to have a company called OnFido is going to be on the show. Basically, it allows you to verify anyone in the world within seconds. Allows you to do background checks.
60 seconds.
Which is actually a very cool technology. We're going to have the company's CEO on the program in the first hour. And then in the second hour, we'll have more computer and technology news brought to you by Slimware Utilities, the official optimization software of Computer America. Again, I want to thank Charles Tendell for being with us here in the first hour. He was a lot of fun, and hopefully you enjoyed that. And Ben and I are going to see you here tomorrow, same time, same place, same station. So until tomorrow afternoon, this is Craig Crossman hoping that your hard disk never becomes floppy. Have a great rest of the day. We'll see you tomorrow afternoon.
Have a good one, everyone.
And don't forget to register for our contest tomorrow.
That too.
Yes. Bye-bye.
10 seconds. Thank you for using Blog Talk Radio. Goodbye.
Okay, again, thanks for watching our live video stream, and Ben and I will see you tomorrow here. Have a great day. Bye-bye.
Bye, everyone.